Season 2 of the animated program Rick and Morty proves to be an excellent and exciting return to form. This season further cements the show's ability to satirize and boggle the mind. Characters are further explored in new and interesting ways, and the comedy is naturally expansive, ranging from the juvenile to the sophisticated to the traditionally sappy to the morbidly dark. As should be expected by now, Rick and Morty Season 2 provides itself a grounds for a wonderfully large audience while all at once maintaining its wit. Many and most of the familiar aspects of Season 1 in terms of structure and novelty are brought beautifully back to life for a masterful retelling. In shorter terms, the happenings in the second season of this series will leave little to be desired from earlier episodes. The second season certainly opens with a bang, giving us one of the series' best episodes so far. After the events of Season 1's finale, time continues to be frozen. When Rick unfreezes it, he distracts Beth and Jerry with some ice cream money so that he, Morty, and Summer can fix their time, which, due to having been frozen for months, is now broken. The fantastic opening to this season is characteristically corny for certain, yet altogether deep and interesting. The story provides another shade on the concept of time travel and its rivalry with the infinite number of realities. Beth and Jerry's advent is also rife with the situationally humorous bickering that we've all come to love and expect. Rick's apparent agnosticism, while hilarious, also leaves the question of belief open-ended and mysterious to the audience. His feelings for Summer, and particularly Morty, are explored as well. The episode is fast-paced, and the split time and reality concept is certainly cause for intrigue. There are even interesting aspects to character development that were previously unexplored and unexpected.
The world can be one together, cosmos without hatred.
A thrill ride nodding to the uncertainty of supposed morality. When Jerry is found to be a stowaway on Rick's ship, Rick drops him off at a special daycare so that he may proceed with his shady interplanetary business. Original, song-filled, interesting, and daring, Morty Night Run houses a flurry of interesting concepts that are introduced in rapid-fire succession. Both the hysterical Jerry subplot and the quirky vindication story are interesting concepts that leave a lot of food for thought. Morty's almost unbearable morality provides a solid ground for both plot and character development. Likewise, Jerry's uncertainty of himself and the uncertainty of his situation are sure to leave many open-ended thoughts contributed to this episode and the rest of the series. This episode showcases some of the most sophisticated fart jokes ever seen on television. The featured David Bowie song tribute is actually quite good and serves as an interesting plot device. It's also pretty inherent to be able to laugh at Jerry's mediocrity. The ending to this episode ties together nicely, and both stories question the value of life in their own unique fashions. A rather chaotic love story, or instead its aftermath. Rick, Morty, and Summer stumble upon a strange planet while plundering about. The planet happens to be inhabited by Unity, Rick's ex-girlfriend, a hive mind that has the ability to control thoughts and actions of entire planets as one. Meanwhile, Jerry and Beth bicker about an alien that Rick is holding hostage. Rather heartfelt and quite appropriate, the episode explores a typical love story, but for Rick, a character who the audience doesn't typically see present an array of emotion. On the surface, the way the story is presented is highly original and conceptually endearing, mainly due to Unity's assimilation aspect. The side plot involving Beth and Jerry is funny, yet admittedly forgettable. This episode may hit awfully close to home with some viewers and helps us relate more with Rick, who regularly strives to make himself unrelatable. Aside from that, the episode addresses in brevity the ideals of freedom and social constructions like racism. The story is heavily centered around personal choice. Admittedly, the episode does a much better job handling its characters than presenting a fully fleshed plot, but ultimately, Unity is a fascinating concept, and the relatability of events is reason enough to watch. A how-to guide on how to take a simple, overused concept like a flashback episode and turn it into something extraordinary. When the Smith home becomes infested with alien parasites that embed and create themselves out of memories, the family must try to find out who's real and who isn't. An insanely entertaining and mind-bending episode, Total Recall's concept, like so often in the series, is the most impressive thing about the episode. The concept, however, unlike all the time, ties into the plot majestically. The realizations that occur are played out quite well. The characters and their relationships towards one another are shed in some incredibly dim light at times. The darkness that exists within families is brought to in a delightfully uncomfortable sense of realization. The aforementioned plot device is an excellent excuse to expel a multitude of wacky, strange, and interesting characters that couldn't have existed otherwise. The episode's resolutions are clever and unexpected. The groundwork for the episode's climax is great writing and a respectable element of surprise. An intergalactic musical contest with devastating consequences. When Earth is threatened by a giant head whose gravitational pull corrupts the weather in the atmosphere, Rick and Morty go to the Pentagon to inform the president of its desire for a new hit song. In the meantime, the other confused people of the world begin to worship the head as a god. Tongue-in-cheek, light political as well as religious commentary, and often ludicrous pop culture references. This episode's primary raison d'etre is its entertainment value. Despite this, the Advent does display some interesting insights into humanity, primarily religion, secondarily politics. Of course, the episode is mostly focused in its silliness, and perhaps displays it best in its weird and obnoxious songs, one for which the title of the episode is granted. Plot-wise, the episode feels rather formulaic. However, it is also incredibly entertaining in its own right and is massively quotable. Spaceship battery inception. When Rick experiences problems with his car battery, he leaves Summer behind and takes Morty to explore it from the inside, which happens to be its own galaxy. The episode is a fantastic exploration into morality. Often the episode regards the whole of society with a passive nihilism that breathes new life into the mystery of the world surrounding us. Although the universe within universe idea treads familiar territory, the plot device is used as its means to an own end. The plot involving Summer also largely displays parodies and marks the fragility of life as much so, and sometimes in extremely dark ways. The episode has ways of displaying life as something whose occurrence has no intrinsically deeper value. The idea is fun, if not entirely original. The gags and one-liners are expectedly constant, and even some of the action and fight sequences are quite entertaining. Ultimately, the episode mirrors a society caught in unwitting slavery. The question of who in society acts as a slave is explored further in the episode's climax.
Drink up, baby, stay up all night with the things.
Self-exploration has a new definition. While Beth and Jerry consult an alien's couples therapist in regards to their relationship problems, Rick transfers his brain into a teenage clone of himself. Both concepts are winners in this episode, both say something uniquely interesting, and both are their own plot devices. The stories themselves borrow from a multitude of different and interesting sources. Although the episode focuses heavily on characters, the plots presented are both original and interesting. As such, there are some quite powerful instances of character development and realization. The question of life is pounded into the audience's collective heads as they laugh at Rick's pain. The episode is insanely entertaining, with a few novelty songs and concepts that alone make the experience worthwhile. Beth and Jerry's plotline even more so delves into the haphazard relationship that we've come to know and love, and even makes some interesting observations about both characters. Another romp of animated randomness via interdimensional cable. When Jerry falls ill to deadly alien disease, Rick takes the opportunity to watch more interdimensional cable with the rest of the family in the waiting room of the extraterrestrial hospital. As one would expect, the episode is wacky, random, and totally inappropriate. Following the style of the first interdimensional cable episode, this is a chance for the animators to express themselves. As such, the presented story is basically a placeholder. This is yet another lighthearted chance for us to laugh at the characters and the situations of the show. This episode is bursting with insane, usually crude ideas. The comedy is a simplified, slapstick style and is met with an often love-hate relationship. For quick and easy accessible entertainment, Interdimensional Cable 2 is a good choice. A movie parody that does a better job than the actual film itself. While Rick and Morty stumble upon a planet that partakes in annual purge festivals, Jerry attempts to have some bonding time with an unresponsive Summer. The episode is quite entertaining, with interesting new one-time characters and a bloody mess of a situation. As a parody, this episode does what it does quite well. Fans of animated blood and gore will relish in the twisted and graphic killings that occur. Aside from that, however, the episode covers light political insights of bigger issues, in particular the power struggle. But the people that will enjoy this episode the most are going to be the fans of morbidity and animated violence. The events in this episode may be considered rather predictable, yet the meaning is in the message and, of course, the slapstick. A well-done, exciting, yet altogether burdening season finale. Rick and the Smiths are invited to the wedding of Tammy and Birdperson hosted on Planet Squanch. The episode is essentially a well-constructed chase sequence. The episode ties itself together quite well, and with the events that occur, some of the characters' earlier statements seem appropriate and ominous. Some happenings in the episode are surprisingly heartfelt and make one feel as if they are in the situation. Some revelations seem necessary and yet uncharacteristic. However, the episode still manages a huge amount of humor and curiosity. Many and most of the varied aspects of this particular outing truly add to the entertainment factor. The episode is indeed surprising in its transgressions, and the cliffhanger ending will cause anticipation for the year and a half before the next episode release to come sooner. Season 2 of Rick and Morty gracefully follows in the footsteps of its predecessor. Comically brilliant, artistically stunning, and surprisingly well written. With this season, the program establishes itself as exactly what it wants to be, and the brilliance of the concept has been actualized. They say it's impossible to trick an audience, yet Rick and Morty has many of us baffled as to what will happen next.